Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Drew Schaefer. We're going to be reviewing Peter McKinnon's Canon R5 commercial that he made for them. Commercial, promo, ad, whatever you want to call it. I thought this video was very well done. It was a little bit thought outside the box. So I thought, you know what? I'll watch it with you guys and give you my thoughts and reactions on it. I'll review it a little bit. I'll also tell you kind of how I thought maybe he shot some things or edited some things. So maybe how he kind of put this video together. It was very well done. So let's dive right into it. I'm gonna press play. Right away, I like this shot. It's kind of like an opening shot, obviously, but the window's opening. That I'm a big fan of. So what Peter does really well is sound effects, and that this video is no different. The cards flipping, and then as you're about to see some ATVs going. Video, audio is so important. I can't stress it enough. You need great video and sound effects in the background of what your background should sound like. It makes the person watching the video feel like they're there. So. Big fan of that font. I've used that font.
When you tell someone you're an artist or want to be an artist, it's usually met with an eye roll. A common cliche of not being able to pay the bills or make some...
So what you just saw when those things are flipping around, I believe he used a wipe transition, and you can do that in Premiere, and you just kind of mask out some certain things. Also, you heard him start narrating the video. I think that's another thing that makes people really like Peter McKinnon's videos is he's really good at narrating his videos, and he feels like your friend as he's narrating the video. And he has a much better voice for video than I do because I hate editing my voice, but let's jump back into it.
People will care about.
Created with the Canon R5. This whole video is shot with the R5.
To share, to express, to imagine.
See all those sound effects in the background?
Stick to something practical, stick to something safe.
Now there's a couple different ways you can get sound effects for videos. You could do what I do, and I have like a little recorder with me, like a Zoom recorder, and I record my environment while I'm there. That's probably the most affordable, the most accurate way to do that. But if you don't have that capability, you could record on your phone. That's another thing. I've done that. You could record your environment on your phone, or you could go into iTunes, YouTube, and you could download. Let's say you wanted seagulls, you would just type in seagull SFX, and then you could download that audio or purchase it from the iTunes store. So that's one way of doing it. Back into it.
That is not who we are.
It's beautifully shot and color graded, by the way. This camera can shoot 8K RAW.
When you hear the word artist, you might think of a painter, a museum, fancy degree. When I hear the word artist, I think of my friends, the local restaurant owner, a little kid sitting under a blanket
So
with a flashlight.
what you just saw, all those movements, he's using a tactic called speed ramping. He's either shooting it at 120 frames per second or 60 frames a second. It is possible. I think this camera can do 1080, 240 maybe. Anyways, so he's shooting it in slow motion so that he can speed it up in post. That's a very common tactic, but the way he's doing it is very flawless. And I really like how he did that. And obviously he was limited to his studio and sort of indoor settings. He couldn't travel with this camera and get great landscape shots because of COVID. But that tactic that you're seeing, all that fast moving stuff, that is called speed ramping. You can do that in Premiere or Final Cut. So whichever you prefer.
Stars.
So he's also shooting things in multiples, like wide, close, even wider. That's a common theme, a common film tactic. You want to shoot things in threes, wide, close, super close. Some people word it differently, but that's just kind of how I word it. But yeah, you want to shoot things in threes. And if you don't know what that means, for example, if Peter is messing with a deck of cards, you might have a close-up shot of just his fingers. Then you might have a wider shot of like body and you can see the cards, and then maybe even wider than that. So that's kind of what I mean. Hopefully that helps.
An artist isn't bound by the restrictions of society.
Sound effects, double shot right there.
Artist doesn't see the world
Close to
with
closer.
straight lines. Artist finds comfort
Speed ramping.
a place where we can express our most inner feelings through our works without bounds. A limitless expression.
A lot of close shots. I think he's shooting a lot of close shots because, one, you're indoors, and indoors typically you want to shoot closer shots because it just looks better. But obviously he couldn't really take this to too many landscapes besides ATVing. So I think if he had the choice, he'd probably take it back to where the bucket shot was filmed. But so far looking really good indoors.
Some use cards, some use notes. Some use endurance, some use precision. But we're all ultimately around
Close shots, close shots,
a place
fast
where
moving.
the hierarchies disappear and we're only left with what we love.
Great color grading.
Our passion.
So when I say great color grading, what that means is how he colored the video. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically all video is pretty much colored. And this camera can shoot 8K raw video, and that is insane. And there's a reason it overheats sometimes. But it shoots 8K raw video, so it'll shoot in a super flat profile. And you can adjust the colors a lot more in RAW than you could an S-Log. But basically, RAW video shooting is kind of like RAW photo taking. And if you know anything about RAW photo taking, you can adjust layers and you can really save an image if you were to screw up or something. But if you get it just right, it's even more perfect. So shooting in RAW video is like the pinnacle. I mean, it's like getting the keys to the Lamborghini. And shooting 8K RAW on a mirrorless camera is like getting a Lamborghini and driving off cliff with no parachute. That's a terrible analogy, but it sounded cool. All right, back to it. A film by Peter McKinnon. I like that because it is a film. It's more so a film than a video. And he is sponsored by Canon. He makes that very clear right here. Personally, I'm a Sony shooter. But hey, everyone's got their own little thing, their own camera that they use. And yeah, that's pretty much the video. So some things to take away from this is sound effects. Sound effects are really, really big. You might not even know that you're really hearing them until you really focus in, but the Sam Colders, the Peter McKinnons, the Matt Comos of the world, their videos are gonna have sound effects. Try to listen in for those. I was really impressed with this video. I liked how it was colored. You know, like with Sam Colder, he colors and you can kind of tell it's a Sam Colder video because it's like teal and orange. But with Peter, it's more of like a subtle color grade, but still looks professional. Kind of like a Marquise Brownlee, but not so, but a little harsher. Also, there was a lot of slow-mo clips in this. Like I said, this camera can shoot high frame rates, so that makes sense. And he would speed ramp those slow-mo shots. I tend to do that with DJ videos, shoot it in slow-mo and then speed it up in post, and you have a lot more range of things that you can do with a slow-mo clip than a regular speed clip, if you want to call it that. So that's probably why he shot it in slow-mo, and just to prove to you that look how great this looks. Personally, I thought this was a great ad because he narrated it, kind of made you feel like, you know, when he talks about the artist and everything, like I feel that, you know, being the starving artist that I am. But I liked this ad, thought it was really cool. I would have liked to have seen a Canon R5 strapped to a drone flying around. I would just love to see some R5 drone footage. That would be really cool, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. He definitely got the audio down for sure, always does. It's not like too subtle that you can't hear it, and it's not too big that it's like kind of overwhelming. But yeah, I think this was a really well done video by Peter and his team. Well guys, that's kind of like my first initial thoughts after watching this video, and I tried to give some insight to this video, and I hope that helps. If you have any questions down below, be sure to find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Comment below. Let me know. I always respond. So don't be afraid to find me on social media and ask me as many questions as you want about filmmaking or photos. So, and as always, if you like this video, like it, subscribe it, do all those stupid, annoying things that YouTubers tell you to do. Peter, great work, man. Love your stuff. Always watching. So, really cool to see. All right, peace.